gameranx here to present you with the 10 best steampunk games. If you like pipes, steam, or antiquated technology, this list is for you. So let's get into it, starting off with number 10. Guns of Icarus Online is a unique multiplayer PvP shooter that involves 4-man crews that battle each other in different airships. You can play online or with your friends, and you play as a gunner, engineer, or a pilot. That means you're either shooting, repairing, or flying around. And the best part is, it's in a steampunk airship. Guns of Icarus Online is highly fast-paced, but a ton of fun, especially when you're playing with friends, because it really revolves around a lot of strategy and cooperative play. Number 9. Rise of Nations Rise of Legends is an RTS for the PC that is a spin-off of the original Rise of Nations. While it looks kinda historical, it's based in a fantasy world where there's technology and magic coexisting together. This is really reflected in the art style, where there's giant monsters versing sometimes steampunk-looking soldiers. This time around, the wealth resource is replaced with energy, and you have different control over cities, buildings, and different districts in those cities. If you're an RTS fan, there might not be enough new stuff here to really bring you in, but the art style is really unique and worth checking out. Number 8. Machinarium is a puzzle point-and-click adventure game that was released in 2009. The player character is a cute little robot called Joseph who's dumped into a scrap heap and then reassembles himself and sets out on an adventure. Seriously, if you're watching this right now, you can tell that the hand-drawn art style is worth the price of admission alone. As a puzzle game, it does start to lose steam at the last third of the game, sorry about the steam pun, and recycle old tricks that you've seen before. But despite that, seeing this adventure to the end is still definitely fulfilling. Number 7. Valkyria Chronicles is a Japanese tactical role-playing game that takes place in Europa, a place that's loosely based on Europe during World War II. In the world of Valkyria Chronicles, war machines don't run on petroleum or gas, but they run on Ragnite ore, which kind of gives the game a bit of a steampunk and weird flair. Valkyria Chronicles is a classic for a reason, and it's a ton of fun to play. The gameplay design really gives players a bunch of tactical freedom that you don't really see in these types of games. The battle and story situations are really tense, and the game kind of gets better the more you play it, and the end is really awesome. Number 6. Arcanum of Steamworks and Magic Obscura is actually really cool despite the crazy name. It's a 2001 game and it's developed by Sierra, so trust us. It's an isometric view RPG that takes place on the content of Arcanum. This is a more traditional fantasy setting that's going through an industrial revolution. This is another game that, despite having influences and including elves and dwarves and gnomes and stuff like that, are meshed with technological elements. In this world, you'll see advanced zeppelins and Tesla guns, and all magic is explained through actual practical physics. Arcanum is an oldie but a goodie, especially for steampunk fans. Number 5. Final Fantasy VI is an extremely memorable Final Fantasy game because of its steampunk aesthetic. There's a lot of iconic steampunk moments in this game, including an over-the-top opera scene and a boss fight against a freaking steam engine. Can you get more steampunk than that? At the time, this was the first Final Fantasy game to feature iron, gunpowder, and steam engines. And it definitely made a big difference because Final Fantasy VI was a huge hit and is still in the hearts of fans today. Number 4. BIOSHOCK Infinite is a game that isn't specifically labeled steampunk, but definitely takes the best elements from it and use it to its advantage. Because as you guys probably know, BIOSHOCK Infinite is freaking awesome. BIOSHOCK Infinite is a tale of industrial revolution, of man versus mechanical machine, and there's plenty of cool weapons and enemies that are all reflective of a steampunk aesthetic. Just the handyman and the songbird alone are some of the coolest steampunk ideas we've ever seen brought to life. The game is riddled with steam, pipes, airship, gears, train tracks, everything, and it's definitely worth checking out if you somehow managed to miss this. Number 3. The world of Thief is a dark one, riddled with fantasy industry and a ton of poverty. The city known only as the City is the place that Garrett inhabits and works his thievery day and night. The city is a dirty, industrial place that is ruled by a baron. The city is a unique example of medieval and industrial designs and definitely made the early Thief games really stand out. If you haven't, go back and play the old Thief games, starting with Thief the Dark Project and the really awesome Thief 2 the Metal Age. You'll thank me later. Number 2. Sunless Sea is a ship game of discovery and loneliness and is set in a Victorian Gothic universe called Fallen London. Not only are there monsters like giant crabs and swarms of evil bats, but there's also rampant madness and cannibalism. Hooray! These are dangerous seas in a dark industrial setting, and the game is actually pretty cool to boot. It's a roguelike that's kind of like Faster Than Light, but with boats, and there's a story that's pretty interesting. It's on Steam, and it might be worth your time. Number 1. Now, Dishonored is a little tricky because it's not really technically steampunk, it's more of like whale-punk. The world of Dishonored and the city of Dunwall is run by whale oil, not necessarily steam or gasoline, so it has heavy steampunk inspiration, but it's not technically steampunk. There's a lot of definitions of what steampunk actually is, but Dunwall is a city built on industry and machinery. Regardless, Dishonored is a great game and is absolutely beautiful. Its blend of old world and then new Half-Life-like kind of technology really makes it something to look at and is just a blast to play. So like we said, and with the rest of this list, while steampunk is up up for interpretation, Dishonored is a freaking awesome game that you should definitely check out regardless. So that was the list of our 10 best steampunk games. Bust out your top hats with goggles and blunderbusses and whatever else you have, because these are the games that you should be playing if you enjoy the steampunk aesthetic. That being said, we looked around and there are a lot more steampunk games, so let us know your favorites and let us know if we missed any in our list. You might know the drill by now. Liking this video really helps us out, and subscribing is even better because we do videos like this and we do giveaways all the time. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.